the threat of a swarm of drones taking out a crowd of people.
The Chinese government was sending the following message: we're moving on Taiwan and maybe other things.
Wow.
You can't do anything about it.
How you doing, sir?
With January 20th right around the corner, many people in this country are now eagerly waiting for the inauguration ceremony of Donald J. Trump. Of course, it will be attended by many international dignitaries and many of our very own political leaders. And just days before this, Marjorie Taylor Greene put out this tweet. I just flew into DCA. Before landing, our pilot announced he had to fly in from another direction due to unauthorized drone activity over the White House. And she didn't just say this in a tweet. Just listen to what she said in an interview with Sean Spicer.
I was flying into Washington from West Palm Beach yesterday afternoon, and he says that he's having to reroute and come in and land from another direction due to unauthorized drones over the White House.
Now, this isn't the first time MTG has made some serious claims about this drone issue.
Well, number one, I'm going to call it total bull that no one knows what these are. And I think it's a slap in the face to the American people to say they don't know what this is. They can track down a guy that just killed a CEO, but they can't identify what nightly drones are and where they're coming from. I think that is absolutely disgusting to lie to the American people like this, and the truth needs to be told about it. Secondly, if they're telling the truth, then this country is in horrible shape. We're all in danger. I mean, seriously, if our great government can't identify what these drones are, they're flying every single night, that people are sitting out there videoing with their cell phones, then no American is safe. And I have no respect if our government cannot say what these are.
So if we don't know who they are, right? So it's got to be somebody else, or they're just not telling us and they know who it is. And some people have said maybe it's, for an adversary. What do you think?
I seriously don't know, but I think they know. I think our Pentagon knows. Our Pentagon should know, right? The Department of Defense absolutely should know. And I'm not privy to that information. I'm not in, we're not in control yet. But I'll call them a bunch of liars. I think they're
because they're saying they don't know. So it's like, if you don't know, then
if they don't know, they need to resign in shame. That's what I think. And we need people in charge that can know what this is. But I don't buy it up.
However, I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of shocked when I first saw this tweet about drones over the White House because I hadn't heard anything about some recent drone activity in DC. Then I thought maybe I didn't see anything because I was so focused on covering everything that was going on in Los Angeles. So I sat down and started researching online for any articles that discussed this incident. This is when I came across this Newsweek article, which talks about Congresswoman Marjorie's experience. When this news site tried to confirm her story, an FAA public affairs specialist told them, "We don't have any reports. We are looking into it and we'll let you know if we have any updates." Now, a very interesting thing you need to see here is that they didn't outright deny her claim, which is what they usually do. And they can also easily confirm her claim by just talking to the captain of that flight. Another very important thing this article mentions is that Washington, D.C.'s airspace is the most restricted in the country. Drone operations are strictly prohibited within the flight restricted zone. The Washington, D.C. area is governed by a special flight rules area, otherwise called SFRA, within a 30-mile radius of Reagan National Airport. Flying unmanned aircraft within the 15-mile inner ring is prohibited without specific FAA authorization, requiring Transportation Security Administration and FAA waivers and special clearance. This straight up rules out the commercial or hobbyist drone explanation, which has been used a lot by the government and military officials to silence the people. Now, an even more concerning thing is that this comes only days after Dan Bongino issued a serious warning about a drone attack during Trump's inauguration.
This is going to happen. It is, whether it happens in Times Square or someone else, it is going to happen. And there are people in charge who have wasted time on DEI bullshit. They've wasted time targeting Americans with MAGA hats, Moms for Liberty, pro-lifers, targeting the evil white supremacist around every corner. and they have not thought through the threat of a swarm of drones taking out a crowd of people or taking out one of our protectees with an inauguration right around the corner, and Donald Trump not able to do anything about it because he's not in power for 2 more weeks. You think the Secret Service is prepared for this?
He's not wrong. Recent wars have proven that drones are one of the most dangerous weapons out there. And if we can't control their activity, how in the world can we assure the safety of Donald Trump and all the other people who are going to attend that ceremony? We already know how just a single unauthorized drone took out a Canadian super scooper over Los Angeles. Now, interestingly, the drone that took out that plane belonged to a Chinese company called DJI Technology, which controls over 90% of the consumer drone market. Now, for over a decade, the company has used software to ensure that you couldn't fly its drones over restricted areas in the US. However, on January 13th, it suddenly removed those restrictions. In a blog post, the company said it's placing control back in the hands of the drone operators. Now, the company also said that technologies like remote ID, which publicly broadcasts the location of a drone and their operator during flight, are providing authorities with the tools needed to enforce existing rules. However, this remote ID isn't always available on drones that weigh less than 250 grams, which means the FBI can't even track the drone that crashed into the super scooper. So we have drones popping up over the White House, and the company that makes most of the drones has removed all restrictions on such flights. And it all happened within a couple of days. Now, I would like to tell you that even though the media has stopped talking about it, the drone activity hasn't exactly vanished. Here's a user sharing her frightening experience with a rogue drone.
I know I'm about to sound crazy, but here's the truth. Last night, my husband and I and my kids were followed by a drone the size of a car. And I have nothing to be able to explain or reason why, like none. But we were driving home after seeing my dad for New Year's Eve, and as we're driving, I see this hovercraft floating, and it's big, and the back of it had like a little tail. And at first I was like, oh, it's an airplane, because it's like the red little tail, like it almost looks like, you know, American Airlines or something, or Delta for their little tail. And then it turned, and there was a giant white bright light on the front of it, and it turned. It looked like a searchlight. And again, I have no explanation. I am searching in my database. There is nothing I can say in my mind to be like, this is rational, or this sounds fine, or whatever. No, I know it sounds effing crazy, and I got very little video of it, and I'm going to be uploading the videos because it happened right after my husband saw a bunch of drones in the sky, but they were much higher, and we watched them ascend, and then this giant one shows up. I don't know what to tell you guys. I have nothing. It happened, and then once we got home, it flew off, and I don't know. I feel like I live in a video game. What do you do with the I still got to pay my mortgage. I don't understand what's going on. And don't even get me started on the fog and everything else that we've been seeing, or the videos that have been getting spun around here in Florida. What's happening in Florida? What's going on?
Now, to his credit, Donald Trump has promised to release a report on these mysterious drones as soon as he takes office.
Do you have any idea whatever happened to the drones?
What happened to drones?
Well, you said that you knew you thought the government knew what was happening with these drones over New Jersey. There were some by Bedminster.
I don't know. They're over Bedminster a lot, so I can imagine. I'm going to give you a report on drones about one day into the administration, Because I think it's ridiculous that they're not telling you about what's going on with the drones.
But some people are worried that he might become a target even before he takes office, and that's why we're seeing tweets like this one. This is why the inauguration has got to be moved to another location. Mar-a-Lago will suffice. It's just not worth it right now. We need President Trump to get inaugurated so that he can get down to business, and then we can have a huge celebration. I can't say I disagree with her, but I also think our agencies with their astronomical budgets should be able to protect the president and all the other people who are gathering for such an important event. As of now, these agencies are telling us that there is no credible threat to the inauguration ceremony.
We are not currently tracking any specific or credible threats to the inaugural ceremony or to the Capitol complex. We will continue to work closely with our partners to share information and identify and disrupt any threats that may emerge.
But thankfully, Donald Trump and his team have stopped trusting these agencies and have listened to all these warnings. That's likely why they decided to conduct the inauguration ceremony inside the Capitol building, citing freezing cold as a reason for this change. While this means that a lot of people won't be able to attend the ceremony in person, at least President Trump and all those guests will be much safer. Now, moving on, I want to talk about a story that's been blowing up online. It involves independent political commentator Avery Warwick, who had a conversation with a senior Los Angeles firefighter. And in their conversation, the firefighter, who wanted to remain anonymous, told Miss Warwick some rather concerning things.
The firefighter told me that he was on a street in the Pacific Palisades, and not only did he run out of water, but they had insufficient hydrants. So he explained to me that the standard distance between residential homes is usually less than 1,000 feet. And in this case, these homes were very large. We're talking like 15,000 square foot mansions and hydrants that were over 1,000 feet apart. In addition to that, running out of water and these hydrants being too far apart, these hydrants only had a 2.5-inch wharf hydrant instead of 4 inches, which means the diameter of the hose. This means that these firefighters did not have sufficient fire flow to extinguish these fires structures than we did if we had water. In addition to that water reservoir being empty in the Pacific Palisades, holding 117 million gallons of water, they tarped it when they never should have for environmental reasons and evaporation. But don't you think that evaporation should not supersede the need for helicopters to access the water and suck out water for fire suppression, for aerial help? That was out of the question because it was tarped when it was not.
So basically, even if there was enough water, and there clearly wasn't, the hydrants were just not good enough, so the firefighters would have failed anyway. Avery also talks about the issue of arson in Los Angeles.
I asked about rumored arson, and he said, I'll be honest. And I'll say what no one is willing to say. It's the frickin' homeless. They had a Palisades fire in the exact same area 3 years ago caused by homeless, but no one wants to say it and everyone's afraid. More than half of the calls they respond to are fires caused by the ever-growing homeless population in LA. And they'll cut the fire department budget by $20 million, but they'll spend billions on the homeless. That does absolutely nothing. I asked about DEI. And the answer was, of course, we don't mind women in the fire service if they could do the job. That's all that matters. But then a wife in the background says, my husband, if he needs help, his coworkers need to be able to carry him out. I don't care who you are, but you shouldn't be getting regulations changed. And you need to carry my husband and anyone else who needs help out.
Well, the thing is, everyone has been mentioning this problem, but if you try to raise it with Gavin Newsom, he's just going to call you a hater and shut you down. Now, all of this is already damning, but there's also the Elon Musk controversy. I'm sure some of you know that Elon Musk went to the Palisades Fire Command Center and he donated Starlink systems and even streamed with the people there.
I'm here with the fire command team at the Palisades Fire. Hey guys. Let's see. So this is a I was asked if we could bring some more Starlinks here, so we brought some more Starlinks here, and I'm just here with the team, and they're going to provide a briefing of the Palisades fire. So please go ahead.
All right. Hello, good evening. My name is Christian Litz. I'm with LA County Fire, cooperating with the partnership with CAL FIRE Team 2, and I'm Operations Section Chief on the Palisades Fire. So Palisades Fire, we've been here since the beginning of the fire on Tuesday. We were looking at extreme damaging winds, erratic fire behavior coming through and blowing in from about midway on this map and blowing all the way down to the coastline there.
When does that start? Just to frame the thing for people? Like assume people like it's like great to get the story from like basically a straight shooter.
Yep.
And like and so like how did it start? And and then maybe after how did it start? Then like what are some of the things that can be done to prevent it in the future? But how did it start out? Like what's the story?
So honestly, we don't know yet. It's still under investigation. We don't know how it started.
Okay.
Well, Gavin Newsom certainly did not like that, so he issued some rather strict orders regarding Elon and his Starlinks.
The firefighters that I spoke with told me that Gavin Newsom directed the removal of Elon Musk from the command post where he was live streaming with that battalion chief. Gavin Newsom told him to leave. Kicked Elon out for trying to help. It doesn't end there. Gavin Newsom also ordered the CAL FIRE firefighters to return and not accept the donated Starlinks by order of the governor. Now, I've been told by firefighters on the ground that Starlink has directly impacted the success of fighting these fires through improving communication methods.
Now, you can check out Avery's X page where she has a full transcript of her conversation with the firefighter. My question to you is, what kind of a governor orders someone to stop who's trying to help the people? Elon has sent these Starlink units to other areas as well, like North Carolina after Hurricane Helene. And we already know that communication is a big problem during these emergencies. So why does Newsom not want his people to have a connection to the outside world? Well, the answer is simple. They hate it when people share their pain and grievances online. That's exactly why Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have been trying to shut people up by calling everything misinformation and lies.
Social media is giving up on fact-checking. The truth is smothered by lies, told for power and for profit. We must hold the social platforms accountable to protect our children, our families, and our very democracy.
We will hold social media platforms accountable for the hate infiltrating their platforms because they have a responsibility to help fight against this threat to our democracy. And if you profit off of hate, if you act as a megaphone for misinformation or cyber warfare, if you don't police your platforms, we are going to hold you accountable as a community.
I think we're going to end today's video right there. What do you guys think about this whole drone situation? Do you think Trump should change the inauguration venue, or should he just trust the agencies? Share your thoughts with everyone in the comments section below. As always, thank you for watching today's video, and I hope to see you in the next one.